Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at a scenario where, what if the Charlemagne's empire came back in 2026? As you can see, it occupies a whole lot of territory. As you can see, it occupies a lot of the southern area here. Occupies all of this. Almost all of Italy. Sorry, here. A big chunk of France here. Of course, we have Germany, the Dutch. They occupy a bit of Slovenia here. Big chunk of Austria. Croatia is fine. Germany's still fine, though. Denmark just lost, that. France still does exist, but they're a shell of their former self. So with that in mind, so we're gonna see Charlemagne begin to invade the rest of France. Now he does occupy these islands too. As Charlemagne's French troops will surround France's new capital in Brittany and capture it. And that's our first country to fall. The next country to fall will be Slovenia, as they get quickly invaded. They will invade into Croatia as well. Cutting them into two even more, while also sending a naval fleet down to capture this part of Croatia. As they take out this whole chunk here. We then see the Serbs invade into a bit of Croatia, as they will decide to ally with Charlemagne because they don't want to be invaded by Charlemagne. So they'll help out in this war. And we can now take a look at this peace treaty. Which will be very simple. Because Charlemagne will draw up a new border right about here. So he'll take all of this area right here as well as this, while Serbia takes the rest of that. So we can go ahead and just do boop, 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 boop. No, not that. Boop. So I always like to do this with every capital. Once a country captures the capital, they turn it into a major city. So that's just what we see here. Following this, Charlemagne will decide to invade into Bosnia and Herzegovina. So he'll decide to, and Serbia will also help out with this invasion. Taking out Sarajevo. That's also where the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand happened. And we see that Serbia is gonna do very well in helping out Charlemagne, as the two forces will capitulate Bosnia, and Serbia is gonna take over Montenegro. So we can take a look at this peace deal. So we see that Charlemagne will just continue along this border here, as Serbia will annex this area as well as Montenegro. Charlemagne doesn't mind it as long as it doesn't go along with his ambitions, which he didn't intend to invade Montenegro. So that's a good thing. So Charlemagne is actually pretty friendly with some nations. If nations are friendly with him, he will let them take some land with him. And now we have Charlemagne deciding to go after Albania. But first, they'll take over Italy. So they'll quickly take over this new capital they have. As they will begin to spread out and capture the boot of Italy, like this heel. They also send naval forces into Sardinia, which will be very difficult because this area is highly mountainous. So there will be slow advances. Meanwhile, over here, it's a lot easier. As we see Charlemagne's troops take out most of Italy, all the mainland areas of Italy. And now he'll send forces into this area of Sardinia. But now he's just gonna ignore geography and just blitz through. And now it's time for well, that's not good. Serbia just invaded Kosovo. And now, now these two will be invading into Albania, as well as Greece for some reason. Seems like they are not trying to get invaded by Charlemagne. as all three of these guys will begin to invade into North Macedonia. As well as, well, no, Bulgaria will be not able to take some land because there might be some plans to invade them. I'm just saying. So we can go ahead and draw in a peace deal here. As Charlemagne will annex all of this territory. Serbia will annex this, as well as a bit of territory from North Macedonia, and the rest will go over to Greece. Serbia is really becoming a dominant power in the in the Balkans. So Greece is looking pretty nice. And of course, Italy. Charlemagne is kind of being a tyrant, but who cares? Now Charlemagne will divert his focus into Central Europe. As he'll invade into Austria, with the help of Hungary, of course, as they capture Vienna. And now we see that Charlemagne will invade into German territory. This is basically just East Germany. As they'll capture up to this point here. As they get closer and closer to Berlin. And we also see Charlemagne invade into Czechia and capture Prague. He'll use this opportunity to take out more and more of Czechia. He'll also work with Hungary to take out Slovakia. Would you look at that? Ukraine's invading into Slovakia as well. Seems like a lot of nations are allying with Charlemagne. As we see, Slovakia is really getting captured now. Slovakia will capitulate. Now we see Ukraine invading into Transnistria and capturing Moldova's capital, which Ukraine will just begin to annex a whole lot of territory as they begin to invade into Romania. As they'll capture all of the Black Sea coast from Romania, as they'll get closer and closer to Bucharest. Hungary and Serbia will also invade into Romania, helping out the Ukrainians. Czechia will continue to be more and more forces enter into Czechian territory. As we see them, and we also see more troops enter into Germany to cut them off from Berlin. To cut Berlin off from the rest of the country. So we will see a lot of forces diverging into one single front line around Berlin. As we see Charlemagne make an encirclement of Berlin. And he's going to starve out the German populace in Berlin, which technically is a war crime, but who cares about war crimes? This is a war scenario. There's no UN here. There's no one to say you can't do that here. But of course, if this would happen in real life, Charlemagne's empire would probably just crumble. But we do see Berlin falling. We do, and then we see more and more forces focus in on the Czech Republic here. Eventually, the Czech Republic will fall to the invading forces. And then, now we can focus more all of the forces to Romania. So we see major gains by the Serbs and the Hungarians, as well as Charlemagne's forces helping out over here. Ukraine will send more forces in here. Same thing goes with Hungary and Serbia. As Hungary and Serbia will focus more in the Transylvanian areas of Romania, as they will meet up with Ukraine. Eventually, a bunch of forces will take over this whole territory right here. As we see most of the forces going around to make an encirclement of Bucharest. Eventually, Bucharest will fall. And now we can look at this really big peace treaty. So, I need to look at a map of Transylvania. Hold on. Transylvania. Okay, here it is. So this area is highly, Hungarian. So we're going to attempt to get, well, let's start off with Serbia, as they'll take a big portion over here. And of course, Hungary will be taking Transylvania. And Ukraine will take the rest here. Ukraine will also take over a bit of Slovakia. Charlemagne will split up this territory with Hungary. Hungary will also take over this territory, leaving the rest of this to go over to Charlemagne. Don't worry, Ukraine, your borders are going to get better soon. Of course, we're going to start off with Ukraine here, because we're a major player here. Sophia's looking pretty nice. Now it's time for Romania. And at that point, we are gonna look, and that's gonna actually do it for today's scenario. So let's just do a bit of this, a bit of this, a bit of this, bit of this, and that. So that's going to do it for today's scenario. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.